Hi everyone, my name's Chloe, this is my lovely wife Natalie, and this week we are going to make an entirely new wardrobe in just 1 week. Do you think we can do it?
No.
Yeah, me neither.
But let's
go!
try.
Let's go! Also, I'll tell you this, we haven't had time to use all of the expensive fabric that we bought while we were working and had a disposable income. We bought these in like January thinking, well, we'll make them by summer. Yeah, no thanks. This is like $150 worth of linen from...
It's on the screen. Off-white, we have a green, and we have a pink. So there's a couple ideas we have with this. We want to have more small shirts. I got really good at making these shirts. I actually made this green linen shirt.
You're not wearing your mic.
Oh, shoot. Sorry. All right, I'm back in my clothes.
You can look at the video of Natalie wearing that, but unfortunately she's not wearing her mic, so
we have to talk
it's not very usable. Okay, anyway, the idea was to make that mock-up made out of a cheap bed sheet into
a linen dress.
But we didn't like it very much.
Yeah, it wasn't flowy enough.
So
we are going to make a full circle skirt out of this beautiful green linen and a bodice top that's detachable from that so that we can wear it as a top and with different pants, or we can wear it as a set. It's kind of like a dress, and that's going to be good.
Yeah, it's going to have pockets. It's going to be split side.
So that it's adjustable.
And it's going to have like a couple
split
buttons.
Skirt. We've all seen the stitchery make a split skirt, right? I'm hoping that we can make like a smock with this, you know, like the old-fashioned squats. And Bernadette Banner talks about how to make these, so we're probably going to follow that.
And then we bought this pink. We actually don't really have very many pink tops, except for like this dark color.
Pink is my favorite color, so I do want a pink top, and I want it to be wearable. So we're thinking about it being like a pirate kind of style top. I'm looking forward to us attempting. And then the last thing is that we want to take all these scraps.
So yeah, we're gonna have scraps, and we want to make a patchworked linen top.
And I think it's gonna be really simple, like big ties on the shoulder, a comfortable, really simple tank top out of the strips of leftover linen.
I think it's gonna be really cute because I think the colors already suit each other well.
Yeah, pink, green, and white.
And something that is really important with sewing is using up the scraps, because you paid for the whole thing of fabric. What is it going to do? Just rot in your scrap drawer?
Yes,
forever?
And speaking of rotting in our scrap drawer forever, we do have a lot of scraps, especially cotton scraps. And so if we have time in this video, I do dream of making a really simple tiered, like cap sleeve cotton dress that's like kind of like a sack that's really easy to...
Yeah, 3 tiers. In our last video where we talked about our closet, we got rid of a gingham dress.
Yes, we want to remake that gingham dress. It was an unnatural fiber, you kind of tell by feeling it. We want to remake just like that with our cotton scraps.
I think we're gonna have to learn how to use the serger and how to patchwork. So that might be a future installment.
No, I think we can do it.
Okay. I like how confident my wife is.
I'm confident.
You're so confident. Do it, I guess. You guys excited?
Okay, welcome to our floor in our dance studio.
This is what we have decided on as for fabric for the mock-up of the shift. Also, we were saying smock, that is wrong. It's called a shift.
It's a shift. We watched a video and patterned out some measurements here. You see? So yeah, we're gonna link the video we watched. It was very helpful, very
informative,
straightforward. But what we need to do now is draw it out here on here.
And we're not making a full shift, we're just making like a top, essentially, made with the same kind of patterning techniques that they would have used back in the old days.
Making a shift is actually great because you can do it with pretty much any size of fabric, and you don't need to cut out any complicated shapes. So it's all self-drafted, but it's also all just rectangles, which makes it super simple. Here we're cutting out the main piece, so we're just marking where the neckline will fall on the front and on the back of the garment. Yeah, we just cut it out. Oh, but of course we do have to make a mistake.
Oh, I just remembered just to round the edges.
Well, I guess that one's not gonna get rounded.
Okay. But we should round the front edges.
Yeah, okay.
I guess like that, because we've already cut it there.
Okay.
You're supposed to curve the edges of the neckline so it's easier to feed a piece of ribbon in through later to gather it, which we forgot to do on the back, which did make things difficult, but it's okay, it still worked. Now here we're cutting out the sleeve. Again, big old rectangle, and we made it much bigger than we needed to because we thought it would be fun if it was all floofy and billowy. And then the only other piece you need for this pattern is a gusset. We cut ours out 4 inches by 4 inches, and I think that that was a little on the small side, but you live and you learn. And boom, the mock-up is done and we're pleased with it. We did learn a couple of things though. One thing that we learned is that we want to do something about these sleeves. They just flow out and they're so cute, but I've already dipped them in soup. I love that when you raise your arms, the garment doesn't shift. That's like my favorite thing about this shift pattern. Since making this, I have worn this shift many times and I love it. So great mock-up. Now time for the real fabric and the real thing, and you better believe that this time we are actually pressing it to make sure that we know what size it is for real. That's the pattern that we're following. We used measurements from Natalie's body, and now we just have to mark up those rectangles once more, but this time on expensive linen. Let's hope we don't mess it up. Natalie's marking the thickness of the straps, which we did 3 inches, I believe, and then the front height of the neckline and the back height of the neckline, and then making sure to curve those edges like we forgot to do last time. Then it's just a matter of adding seam allowance and cutting it out. We didn't have as much fabric as we thought, so we had to make the sleeves a little bit smaller, but they still ended up being really large, so I don't know how that happened. But anyway, they're smaller than they were in our mock-up design. And the last magical piece, the gusset, so that you can lift your arms to the sky without the garment shifting. And yes, we didn't want to sew this by hand, so we finally learned how to use the serger. Oh my goodness, what a time saver. I know it's not as strong as a French seam or as a felled seam allowance, but it is faster, and that's something. Then it's just a straight stitch up both sides, stopping to leave room to attach the sleeves. And then I did the longest stitch my sewing machine would allow without a front or back stitch so that I could ruffle the sleeves. Then a tiny little rolled hem for the neckline here. That's what Natalie's doing, and the neckline is huge because there will be a little ribbon fed through in order to tighten it up and give it a little ruffle. This is so embarrassing. We filmed a talking head talking about our progress and our mics weren't on. So please enjoy this silent clip of us showing our progress on the shirt. I'm sure Natalie's talking about how the sleeves need to be done still. We need to put a cuff on there. We need to ruffle it so that it doesn't dip into soup and such.
What is up, my pals? It is Natalie here showing you how I made a sleeve placket on a scrap piece of fabric so that I felt comfortable making a sleeve placket on the fancy linen shirt that already started looking good, and I was scared I was going to ruin it, but I didn't. I figured out how to do it, and then I did it. And how you do it, very simple. You cut a little thing like I did, you cut some bias tape, and it does need to be on the bias because there's a lot of squinching and looping going on, and then you sew it, and then afterwards you fold it together kind of like origami and sew that down as well, and you have a little slit that is sturdy and nice and good in your sleeve. So then you can add the ruffles and attach a cuff. Chloe took over the shirt building process for the cuffs. We did a lot of switching back and forth with this shirt because we were trying to be meticulous, and we both just got so burnt out every time we tried to be meticulous. Also, ironing makes you hot and frustrated, at least for us, so we had to do a lot of switching to feel sane. Chloe attached one sleeve cuff, I attached the other sleeve cuff, and then Chloe did the hem, and I did the buttons. Okay, everyone, sup dogs. So we have completed 2 shirts. One was a mock-up that we actually wear. One was not a mock-up and we will actually wear it. The only issue is we want to wear them with something, and you can't go around pantsless. That is the law. So,
Is it?
I'm pretty sure you can't go around pantsless. You can go around topless.
You can go around with undies on only.
I don't think you can. I think that's public indecency.
Bathing
But
suits.
you're allowed to be topless. Did you know that in Canada? Women are allowed to be topless. Boobies out everywhere. Did you know that?
No one does it.
No, I've seen them. I've seen them. I've been out on the street and I've seen boobies. Loose. I don't have the confidence for that, but I love that it's allowed.
Yeah, it's good that it's allowed. I just wanted to say that we're about to start the skirt. The plan is for the skirt, full circle skirt. We want to do a split seam skirt so that it's adjustable on either side. Historically, we're talking historical construction.
We're talking petticoat.
Petticoat, yes. It would be, so you pull it on first, you tie around the front, right? That's your back being tied on, then you tie around the back. Maybe it has a larger sash. And then that's how you stabilize it. But then you may be thinking, aren't pockets usually here? How do you put pockets? Well, historically speaking, again, they had separate garments, just known as pockets, that you would have on underneath your petticoat. So I think, okay, listen, I'm gonna talk out of my bum for a second, but I think I might be right.
All right,
so
show us your bum.
it goes shift, and then you tie your pockets on, and then you would put a petticoat on. Maybe your corset goes somewhere.
I think
in
your
there.
corset goes, because you tie the petticoat on the corset.
Anyway, so yeah, so look at these pictures of Victorian pockets. Aren't they simply adorable?
So then we thought maybe we should make one of those. Or 2 sets.
Yeah, and they're often embroidered, so maybe we have to embroider them. We're biting off more than we can chew here.
I know, that might be a whole different video of embroidering a video, but listen, here it is, here's the thought. We're going to make a mock-up out of just a plain white cotton bed sheet that we got. Our hope is to do as much as we can to this mock-up in order that we know every single step of the process, just like we did with the shirt. We did it with a fabric that we liked, and we did it as detailed and as meticulously as we could, and it worked out. And we can still wear it. And we're gonna do that same thing to
the white cotton bed sheet?
The white cotton bed sheet.
Except we're also probably gonna dye it pink with fabric dye.
So, and I was also thinking, okay, we might not have time for this either, but have you ever seen the people who take flowers and they put it on like a white cotton and they hammer it in and it stains in a flower pattern? Like it stains.
I have seen that.
I was thinking, what better thing to do that on than a white cotton skirt that has so much space to experiment with different techniques. Anyway, so there's so much potential here. So the first step obviously is learn how to make a split skirt. We want it to be a whole circle, so we're gonna have to learn how to do that.
We're gonna have to allow for the perfect amount of like seam allowance or like excess so that they will overlap in a flattering way.
Yeah.
On both of our bodies, which are slightly different sizes.
Slightly different sizes. I'm sure it'll be fine. The whole idea is that it is adjustable, right? We could both wear it comfortably.
Yeah, and we need to see...
hopefully it'll last us a pretty long time because everyone knows from here on we're just going to get bigger.
Yeah. And I also just want to see if, like, wearing pockets, the detachable garment that ties around your waist, is a comfortable thing, because I'm not going to be wearing probably a long shift and a corset to protect my skin. So I just wonder, is it going to be
too much
digging into my little waist?
Our little waist.
I'm so delicate. Yeah, and then the other, I guess, issue with your pockets is you can lose your pockets, which is something that we don't really have to consider. But
I don't want to lose my pockets. But I really like this idea, and if we like the skirt, it would be really nice to just not have to worry about pockets if we make more of this style of skirt. And
you can also make split seam pants. I've seen videos, so we can
also do it with pants. So we'll always have deep, luxurious pockets.
And then we don't have to worry about making them again and again and again. So that's a good idea.
Oh my
Sounds
gosh.
like they're playing bridge, but it's Monday.
No. They're watching sports.
Oh, is it tennis?
My dad's watching sports right now. He's so excited about sports. Aren't dads adorable?
I thought they were playing bridge.
No, that was yesterday.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, so we are going to have a picnic today. So we're already behind by doing that. But
hey, it's a holiday.
It is. Ideally, we come back here and we start cutting out circle skirt pieces. And I don't know, maybe drafting a pattern or finding a pattern online for these little pockets.
and making some bias binding. Because there's going to be a lot of bias binding involved in these pockets. Essentially, you have two pieces of, well, actually three. So you have your embroidery piece that you embroider, and then you have your piece that lines it to make sure that you don't get your hand caught on the embroidery or any of your stuff caught in the embroidery. And then you have the back piece that creates the pocket. And then all around the edge is bias binding. And then all around the little opening for your hand is bias binding as well.
Great.
So anyway, we'll bring you along in that thrilling process. See you at the sewing table or the cutting floor.
We quickly took our measurements and drafted our pattern, just, a big circle skirt. We added a lot of seam allowance because we wanted there to be lots of overlap so there was no risk of us flashing anybody. We also cut out the waist ties and sewed up the two side seams to see what we were working with. Unfortunately, it was weird because there was such a huge amount of seam allowance and overlap that we just had this bunching of fabric, and it ended up not really working out. So we had to start from scratch and figure out what we did wrong. We will talk more about this later, but we did all of that fixing that I just talked about off camera, unfortunately. And it's been a few days, but we went on a walk and we started seeing squashes and pumpkins and we got excited, and then we got started on the pocket bags. Some lemon water would do nicely.
Okay. Listen, so we made this. I think that the biggest problem with it is that we made the slits too big. And we did that because we wanted to be able to access the pockets easily, but I think we just kind of overdid it a little bit.
Yeah, and we're thinking about making pockets, but for right now, we want to think about a bodice. Oh, your mic is like that. Maybe you should put it like mine.
While we're waiting for this to fall as it may, and then I can hem it properly and start on the next one, knowing that this is a good thing, I want to start making a mock-up for a bodice that would be worn kind of as a companion to the circle skirt, because in the finished green linen, we're going to have enough fabric, I think, to make a circle skirt and a bodice so that they're kind of like, you wear them together, it's like a dress, and then you could also wear them as separates. So now we just need to wrap me up. Essentially what's happening in the great tradition of cosplay, we are wrapping me up in cling wrap, followed by some form of tape, duct, or painters, or masking. And yeah, it's really good to do it on a nice, hot, late summer day also. Hello. Now I look like this. My wife's trying to get that big caboose around our broken tripod. Okay. We're thinking buttons down the front, really simple. Thanks for that.
You're welcome. I've got some bad news about this duct tape mock-up. It did not work out. It ended up looking really strange the way the straps were attached, and we just couldn't sew it together without it being wonky, and the buttons down the front was just too complex for us. So we pivoted, we scrapped it, and we taped me up instead. With this one, we made sure the straps were wider because the other one, it just strangely cut right by the neck and it just didn't look cute. And Chloe was in charge of drawing, which made it turn out better. Something else that made this pattern work out so much better was that we traced it onto paper first, which made it possible to transfer it to fabric without things being wonky and bunchy. I think the first pattern, the reason why it didn't work out was because we were pressing the more three-dimensional shapes onto the flat fabric and nothing ended up lining up, and it was just really frustrating. Then we took a little trip to Michael's to get some paintbrushes because we decided we wanted to paint on some fabric, and we got distracted by so many autumnal candles, and we did buy them all. We bought so many of them. We also needed bias tape, but this wasn't the kind that we wanted, so we didn't end up grabbing that. Again, it's been a couple days, and this is our beet garden, and now we're going to dye everything orange. We wanted to dye everything pink, but alas, there was no pink, so we had to dye everything orange. Oh my god.
Don't tell your dad.
Just like my hair, this ended up coming out far oranger than we anticipated. So we tried to do some damage control and went back to the craft store and bought some brown fabric dye. But we only mixed up a little bit because we realized how strong it was in the orange, and to be completely honest with you, I don't know if it did anything. But they look a lot lighter now, maybe just because they got a couple extra washes. At this point, we were really running out of time for this project, so we decided, well, we have fabric medium, we might as well just paint on the pockets. So that's what we did. I went for a historically inspired design with little vines and pink flowers because, you know, pink and green, classic, timeless. And Natalie went for a more autumnal sunflower and leaf design. And I think that they both turned out really cute.
Okay, I'm doing it.
Go baby, go baby, go. Go baby, go baby.
And then I remembered just how fun it is to paint on clothes, so I decided might as well paint on the freshly orange dyed bodice. And I decided to paint 3 little sunflowers from this reference image that I have here pulled up on my phone. And I actually think it turned out pretty stinking cute. It would look even cuter if it was embroidery, but we just do not have the time for embroidery in this video. We bit off so much more than we could chew. Then it was just a matter of actually finishing everything up. So here Natalie's serging the bottom of the skirt, and here I am heat setting all of the fabric medium. Then I am bias binding around the pockets, but this didn't work that well, so we ended up French seaming Natalie's, which looked a lot cleaner. Then we installed a zipper on the bodice. Then we just had to press a rolled hem and sew it down to finish the skirt. Finally, all of the pieces that we were able to get done are done. I know that it's less than we thought at the beginning, but please do stay tuned for the reveal of the items that we were able to get done.
Hello, and
Thank
welcome to the end of the
you
video.
so much for watching. It was a little bit of a journey because we actually decided that we weren't sure about this mock-up.
Or
We weren't
this
sure
mock-up.
about the bodice or the skirt. So we
Yeah.
didn't make it out of linen. Also, we ran out of time.
Yes. The reason why we didn't feel comfortable making this out of linen was because the split seam just felt a little bit too
Noticeable.
noticeable
Like you can-
and not as adjustable as people make it seem.
Maybe we did something wrong. Like when we first made it, we had it super overlapped that it curled in on itself, and that would have been really adjustable.
adjustable.
But it just wasn't the way I wanted it to look. Like this looks better, I'd say, but then you can really see it kind of gapes, which I don't love.
If we were to get bigger in our tummy, it would open up. So I think a better way to make something adjustable is to actually have extra pleats that you can take out in the future versus having these ties. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so it was a bit of a miss. Also, this, I like it on me especially. It fits me a
I
bit
like
better.
it on me too.
I like it on you too, but the thing is,
just
it
a
gapes
little-
in the back for Natalie, and it wants to come off your shoulders. Okay. Keep your clothes on. I'm not sold on the zipper also. We were trying to figure out how to make it
Yeah, so we needed
close
like
in the
a
back.
jacket zipper that fully undid, and we couldn't find one. So I had the genius idea of it zipping backwards so that it was attached to the top. I think it was a genius idea. I don't mean to toot my own horn, toot.
What else about the things? Oh, the pockets. I think the pocket bags turned out really well.
Yes, I actually really want to make, sorry, I'm a messy girl. I actually really want to make a pocket bag that's just one, because I think they look cute on top of the skirt like this, but I think it would even look cuter if it was just one bag and the straps were long enough that you could either wear it around your waist or as a crossbody bag. And I want to do that, I want to embroider that. So I think we might have to have an embroidery video.
I think that the sunflower turned out really cute. I'm quite proud of that. But I would like to try to embroider it on the linen thing when we eventually, I guess, do another mock-up to figure out what we actually want to do.
Yes, I think that we're going to do something a little bit more
Modern?
modern, I think.
Because this circle skirt, it's very vintage, very floof, very
And
drama.
I think we will wear it, but I don't think it's something we're going to gravitate towards every day. And I think we want our linen pieces to be something that we gravitate towards often.
I'm worried
because it's expensive.
We're being
fabric.
so picky. We've made 2 mock-ups now for this and not made either of them into the linen. But eventually we're going to make something out of that linen. And we made something out of the white linen, so we did that. And then we
I'm
also
happy-
need to...
We're not wearing it right now, but I'm really happy with the shifts. We've already worn them multiple times, and they
it was
were easy to make, and they're so comfortable.
I feel like it was a big hole in our wardrobe, those. Like just underlayers that look good under pretty much everything that we own, and I'm really excited for it to start getting cold, and then I can wear it under my vests
Yes.
and my sweaters.
You can wear them under vests, and it would like add a bit of fun. You can wear them under any dress to make it a little bit warmer. So I think they're a really good addition to our wardrobe.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Yeah.
if you stayed to the end, thank you so much for watching. We would very much appreciate it if you liked, commented, and subscribed.
Ding, ding, ding.
Coming up on our Patreon is going to be a little write-up about all of the patterns that we made / followed. So if you want to get like a closer look at that, you could check out our Patreon.
Another thing I wanted to throw in, but we can cut out if we don't want to put in there, is that we are going on another trip in Whimsy. So the next upcoming videos are going to be all about being in the bus again. So if you love that content, you're going to get more of it.
And if you hate it, it's not forever. Okay.
Bye!
Thank you so much to our patrons, and a special thank you to Leah and Natalie's actual parents, and also my brother for filming this reveal footage.